One of the exciting things about our 10th anniversary is to look back at the beginning. And I was there in 1999 when we had the first conference on doping in sport in Lausanne and developed this idea of having an international agency. And people were dubious about it. Sports, working with governments and so on, was something that we'd never tried. And I remember saying, you know, if 5 years from that date we had said we're going to have an international agency with a 50-50 governance, sport and governments. We're going to have an anti-doping code that applies to all sports, all countries, that'll be endorsed by governments, we'll have an operating agency, well-staffed, funding research, doing all sorts of things like that. I think people would have laughed. But in 5 years we had that done. In less than 10 years we helped negotiate and draft and encourage governments to adopt the UNESCO Convention. And it's a remarkable achievement in a remarkably short period of time for any kind of an international venture. Yeah, there are a lot of folks that will be here at the 10th anniversary saying, well, we've done everything. Against all odds, here we are. But unfortunately, we're only part of the way there. We had a very exciting first 10 years getting up to speed, getting everybody involved, making sure we understood what the problems were. Now, it's a little less exciting because the progress is not as dramatic. But the fight against doping is still going on. The people out there cheating are more sophisticated. They're more determined than ever to be willing to cheat and to spoil sport in order to get an advantage. So while we're going to make incremental progress, it's nevertheless progress. Whether we're going to be successful at it is the big question. And I think that's something that the WADA Foundation Board, the WADA Executive Committee is going to have to deal with very carefully. Because we can only be successful, only, if every stakeholder is committed to doping-free sport. If there's anybody holding back, or if there's anybody who's just talking and doesn't want to do anything, this is not going to be successful. So what the future will bring really depends on us. If we want this to be successful and we want sport to be free of doping, it's up to us to make it happen. The sport stakeholders have the very essence of their sports at stake. The entire ethical basis of sport is the fact that the rules that we all agree on are followed. And one of those rules is that we don't do doping. From the point of view of governments, the system of sport in their countries, the increasingly easy access to sport drugs even for people who are not in the sport system, unregulated use of substances that may be dangerous to health and perhaps even fatal, that's something that should concern them as well as the sport community. So we need all of our stakeholders to continue the fight, to focus on making progress and not to be diverted, not to allow the problem to become banal and say, oh, well, everyone's doing it. You know, it's like inflation. It's too big and too complicated to solve. It's not too big, it's not too complicated. We can solve it if we work hard and we work together.